We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill. Hello and welcome to another episode of the It's Just a Hill Cycling Podcast. I am John Stenning and I am joined, as I have been for the past month. We've been doing this for a month now. Wow. BSP and Cal. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hi, guys. The tour is over, but we're going to talk about that in just a bit. How are you?
Okay.
We rode our bikes
All right.
pretty far yesterday. We can fake pleasantries for a second. That's how podcasts work. You fake pleasantries at the top, even though we've talked before. But we had a big ride yesterday, and it would be fun to talk about that first.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
Yeah. But how you feeling?
Tired.
Tired.
Not too bad.
Yeah, we rode, Cal and I rode 200 miles. Brian rode how many?
155.
155. Hell yeah. My longest ride ever. Longest, biggest ride. Same for you, Brian?
My longest in miles, but
Yeah.
not climbing.
Not most elevation, because Greylock is more, but more hours on the bike.
Exactly, yeah.
Just shy of 3 miles of my biggest ride.
Shy, 3 miles shy. Yeah. So you've done 205 before.
205.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we rode up to Wachusett and back. Have you guys been up to Wachusett before?
This might fourth or fifth time, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the bike.
Yeah. I used to live in Boston, so
Right.
it'd be about a century from Boston to out there and back.
Nice.
And is that generally a hilly route or no?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Moderately. For that area, it's kind of standard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You've been up it before?
Not on a bike. I think I've only been on it for snowboarding.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever been there. I just
really?
know the jingle.
What's the jingle?
You want me to sing it?
If
I
you
don't
want
know the
to.
jingle.
I think we should just insert it into we should just put it
All
in,
right. And then we'll all know for sure what it is.
Right.
Because I feel like my wife and I have it's not an argument, but always in the background, discrepancy of what the melody is.
Well, then can we talk about it? Because I do want to talk about it then. It's a good jingle. You don't know it at all?
I've never heard of this. No.
Okay, so there's a jingle that was played on the radio when we were kids, and it's like, Wachusett Mountain skiing minutes away. You never heard that?
No, I guess because I was too far away in Connecticut.
Wow. Do you know it?
That's what I would have said.
I sped it up.
The last line, minutes away.
Uh-huh.
Do you think are there multiple verses where they say different things?
So I think there are multiple versions. And
Not versions, but verses of it.
maybe, but the reason I know it's minutes away is because I had this exact same conversation with Jeremy last night, and we looked it up.
Did you really?
When Cal went to
you
go
looked up
pick up
last night?
We looked it up last night and listened to it, and so
Wow.
it plays at the end of the commercial. This is so fucking not about cycling, but the Wachusett Mountain. So Cal, you grew up in Western Connecticut.
Yeah.
So you're not hearing Wachusett Mountain.
No, we had a different mountain out there.
Yeah, different mountain to go
Yeah.
ski at. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But so minutes away are also leading the way is the other one in my memory. What's your
Okay, cool.
alternate
All right.
verse?
So said, I'll bleep her name.
Okay, yeah.
Leading the way. She always said leading the way.
Leading the way, yeah.
And I didn't really,
said minutes away.
remember that part of the melody, so I could never really.
So if people are listening and
agree
you're
or not.
local to the southern New England area, let us know in the comments what you think about the ending of the Wachusett Mountain jingle. I really can't believe I sang it, but yeah.
It sounded really good though. It sounded awesome.
Thanks. I really didn't try my hardest. I could have done a lot better. Harry is obviously upset with me. Harry! Spotlight stealer. Okay, so yeah, 202 this is my Strava, was 202.8 miles, 12,119 feet of elevation on the bike. Moving time, 11 hours and 6 minutes. 18.3 average, which was solid. Felt good about that. I was expecting 18. 147 watts, which is good. Nice low power. And this was very interesting. This was the most interesting to me. About 50,000 rotations of pedals. 74 RPM for 666 minutes. That's what 11 hours and 6 minutes totals to. 666 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
It's almost like you planned it.
but imagine, really, if you think about it, kind of wild. Spinning your legs that many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the pace was good. I only spent 11 minutes over threshold the whole ride. So,
Perfect.
we kept it pretty.
When was that going up?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel about your effort across the whole ride, Brian?
Felt like we had a really good pace going.
Yeah.
For most of it, leading up to it.
We met you
I
around
would say we
mile
had,
25.
Yeah, about 25, 26, I met you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt it was a pretty good pace all around. I was a bit nervous coming off that 125 from a couple weeks ago where we did 125 at something like 19.3 or 19.5, and it was hot and humid, and I had a rough day. But yeah, it was good. There was a lot of people.
Yeah, we had
And the
like a
pace was
14
good,
at one
and
point.
we were all feeling. I think we were all in agreement about keeping it chill and maybe a couple spicy hills on the second half.
Yeah.
But I think overall it was a pretty manageable day.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Did
and
you
it was
guys
very
have
fun.
any high points or low points on the ride?
My high points were the 40 milligrams of edibles I ate on the bike. And my low point was probably I don't know, mile 140 or something, which was just the darkest place.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not quite 150. 150, I've said this before on the podcast. When I ride 100 miles, Harry is unreal. When I ride 100 miles, as soon as I get to 51, mentally, I might as well be done.
Yeah.
Because I'm halfway done. So for me, it's all about checkpoints. And so at that point in the ride, I was like, what checkpoint am I at? And I felt like in, checkpoint purgatory, if you will, that I was like, fuck, I'm not at 150. We hadn't stopped at Harmony Corner Store yet.
I was going to ask before Harmony.
I think it was before Harmony Corner Store. So
Yeah, that was
once we
probably the
stopped
toughest
there, that's when I took
stretch.
my jersey off and soaked it. It was hot and humid, and a few of us took jerseys off, soaked our backs, soaked our helmets, our jerseys, or whatever. It was getting salt and stuff on you was inevitable because how hot and sunny it was. So even if you drank a lot of water, you still were really salty. And yeah, so I actually think that was probably my real high point was there because it felt like it was the home stretch. Even though we were stopping one more time, we stopped once more at Onico after you left us. But at that point, there were only 26 miles or something, which to me felt, like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So, low point was probably 10 miles before the high point at Harmony Corner Store. Yeah. What about you, Brian?
Yeah. High point?
Yeah. Say it.
Probably
Say
the
it.
top of the mountain.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely an interesting climb. I haven't done that many kind of more true climbs like that.
Yeah.
So I did the Kank, Greylock, and now Wachusett, and I don't want to say it felt easy. It's not easy.
No.
But knowing mentally and physically what Greylock felt like, basically for me it was almost at the same distance. Actually, no, Greylock kind of came in at 60 at that ride, right?
Yeah.
So I was at mile, I think 85. For me going up,
Right.
Wachusett. But yeah,
The top was 100
good. I
for
enjoyed
us.
it. It was nice.
Yeah.
Me, Jose, and Christian basically did the whole thing together.
Nice.
Christian was off the front a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to climb with those guys.
Because Jake got a flat near the bottom, so
Yeah.
some of us waited and some of us pushed onto the top. We were all going to do the mountain differently.
Yeah, we were all
Yeah.
planning to do it differently
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so that's kind of why we rolled. But
Yep.
did you guys go back to the start of the segment?
Yeah.
I didn't. I kept going.
You didn't? Okay.
I did. Went back around to the rotary and just didn't want to hammer it, but just wanted to have a number for
a more accurate number.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, I kind of wish I did, but yeah, whatever. It's all good. I'm not losing sleep.
I changed my mind on the spot. At first, I was like, I'm just going to go with Cal. And then I said, fuck it. I could see the rotary, so I was just like,
That's true.
it's
We
right
were
there.
pretty close. Yeah.
Let me just go back real quick. And
Yeah.
it wasn't it was an easier enough part of the climb that I felt like I wasn't adding too much, but the hubris to add an extra half mile on a 200 plus mile ride. But yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like while we're talking about that climb a bit right now,
Yeah.
specifically, I think we got to mention Jeff Lapierre for
Oh yeah. Lost his front derailleur.
not having a working front derailleur.
Damn.
So he did the climb on his big ring.
In his big ring, yeah. Did the whole ride on his
Did the whole ride on his big ring.
Crazy.
I think his ride was around 180 or 183, something like that.
Yeah, because he met us with Leon. They were the first
Yeah.
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah. So, kudos to him.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty good,
Yeah.
A lot of good stops. That Mountainside Cafe was fun, and
Yeah, it was great.
areas that we haven't really ridden before, so took some chances on some roads, but they were mostly good. There was some busier stuff, but
Yeah, some sort of main roads and main roads that were kind of a bit long stretches with some unfortunate pavement, but you kind of have to.
There's that one part where we have to
point.
get off our bikes and walk through a developing neighborhood.
That was great.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like 0.2
fun.
miles. Wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
kind of a
was a
nice
great
little
route.
break,
Yeah, nice break. You get to walk for a second, have like a little recovery walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do it. I think I would do it again. Would you guys?
Yeah.
Something similar?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I thought the route was good.
Do a 200-mile ride every year. This is 3 years in a row for me, so I want to do one every year now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I joked about it on my Instagram. I said the first annual.
Yeah. Great. So let's do it. Slightly alter the route, but
I don't
make
think
sure
I realized that was a joke.
it's
Yeah.
not now. It's real now.
Sounds
We're
pretty-
doing it again next year.
That was pretty legit. Believable.
Yeah, I guess the
Fun ride, though. Fun ride.
Yeah, super fun. Great group.
Fantastic.
If it was a little less sunny, that would have been good, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't that oppressive.
Only for that one stretch from like mile 110 to 130
That's right.
or 40.
And I think that was
Yeah.
that was a section that, I don't know, that I was struggling at. There was a one really long gradual climb that the group started to break up and stuff. And I think some of us were like, oh boy, we
Yeah.
stopped at a Cumberland Farms not long after that. And we were like, okay, we're going to bring the pace down a little bit.
Yeah, it was on a main road with no shelter from the sun, just exposed,
Right.
baking out there on the climb.
Yeah. Classic.
And climbing up the, obviously our bodies were working harder going up the climb, but
Yeah.
there was definitely most of that climb once you got past the sign or even to the Wachusett sign
Yeah.
was basically all sun. So
Yeah.
I felt like it was really
true,
hot.
true.
As soon as we hit that climb and then our speed was down, it was just really hot.
Yeah, it was
Even though it wasn't that hot of a day, I think it was only maybe a high of
was,
83 or 85.
Yeah.
beautiful coming home at night, like the last
Oh, yeah.
25 miles or so in Connecticut was nice and cool.
So
the evening.
nice.
It's
Just like
beautiful.
a push on the way back with the
Yeah.
wind. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing before we move on. Is there anything you would, do differently, right? Approaching a 200-mile ride, big day on the bike. We're riding for 11 hours. I can let you guys gather your thoughts. I'll go first real quick, but I think I didn't eat enough at the beginning of the ride. And that's sort of, I think, why I wouldn't even say I cracked, but I think it started when I started to crack when I did was because I hadn't eaten enough 100 miles earlier. At that first stop, Brian Caudy decided to buy a thing of water. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to get any food, and I should have gotten food. I didn't until the next stop. I had stuff in my pockets, but that was my biggest I guess snafu of my own ride. What about you, Cal?
I kind of wonder if I ate too much, actually. Yeah, because I had a lot of overnight oats at 3:30 in the morning, and then 2 bananas, one with breakfast, and then one
Before the
about
start?
10 miles in.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I was eating every 10, 20 miles pretty diligently going up there. So after the cafe stop in mile 100, I kind of got a bit of a stomach ache, lost all my appetite pretty much until we got to 150.
Damn.
And then I got hungry again, wanted to eat again. But probably eating too much. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Both sides of the coin there. What do you think?
Yeah, I remember you were saying that, Cal, when we were at that Cumberland Farms, that you were feeling it.
Yeah.
I think for me, feeding as well. I think it's always tough to start early. I think I'm a bit more on your side where I think I'm maybe underate at times and more towards the beginning because it's always so tough to start your slow drip feeding, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And just keep drinking and start drinking when you're not hungry or thirsty.
Oh, man.
But then I did also get a bit uncomfortable in my stomach too, towards the top of the climb, and it stuck with me for a little bit. And then by the time we were down at the cafe,
What were
again,
those? What was that strawberry thing you got?
oh wow,
at
I forgot I
Wachusett
ate those.
Farms?
Maybe that made me a little.
It was some Hostess snack that was a strawberry shortcake Hostess snack or something.
Tart.
Yeah,
It looked great. I have 4 or 5 pictures of you eating it.
baby bunt.
Yeah, baby
They're
bunt.
little bunt cakes.
It was a little baby
I
bunt cake.
100% forgot I ate that. Even though I saw the photos that you sent, I forgot I ate that.
It is kind of a whirlwind of a day to look back on it and think about all that we experienced and stuff, like, and then just break it down into the rest stops, right? Like the places that we stopped, and think about like the events that happened, right? Like you ate those baby bunts. Jeff was like razoring he's trying to like take a razor blade to the cabling on his front trailer.
That's
so
partly
he can
my fault. I was really like,
hey,
I was really trying to talk him into like trying to make it, get it done.
He made it done. He got it done. Good on him.
Like I was talking him in to try and fix the wire.
Fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to the top of Wachusett, and there was a like big dude up there walking his cat.
Oh yeah.
I felt like I was in a dream.
I have pictures of it. Yeah.
Who was it? It wasn't one of you guys that said it must not have been. Someone told me that they were riding by this guy and he went like, bikes before kitties.
No, that was me.
Oh, it was you? Oh, fuck. That's what he said, right? What did he say?
He said that to me. I was biking by him and he goes, bikes before kitties.
It was like a tuxedo cat on a leash pulling him around essentially. And at the top of Wachusett. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's funny. I think
it's fun.
Maybe one more thing that I just thought was a fun thing to mention.
Please.
Nice thing to mention was I believe this was the person, I could be wrong, but I think it was the person that took the group photo for us.
Yeah.
Was talking to Brian and I don't know who else after he took the photo for us, asked us about the club and everything. And then I saw that they commented on
I gave him a sticker.
Brian's ride.
Yeah.
And the comment said, that's right, you gave him a sticker. That's right, yeah. Said it was inspiring to see y'all up at Wachusett. Hope to be like you guys when I'm older.
Yeah.
And like in your like tired, drained, emotional state, like I saw it last night and I was just like,
Henry, right? Is that his name?
Henry? Yeah. Oh, this is so nice. That's so amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so nice.
Henry was great. He took a picture for us. A couple people were so slow getting over to the picture. We were like, hurry up. This person's taking a picture for us. But they're like, Henry was great.
Very nice.
Thanks,
you,
Henry. Hey, Henry, if you're watching or listening, thanks, Henry. Yeah, good photo. Brian hid behind the sign. Do you see him hiding behind that sign? I didn't know he was doing that.
I didn't know he was doing that. I was standing right next to him.
Yeah. All right. Any other final thoughts before we talk about the tour real quick?
No.
That was a great ride.
All right. Hell yeah. Great ride. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back to have our final thoughts on this year's Tour de France. Hello, and we are back talking about the Tour de France for the last time this year. Let's all shed a tear and raise a glass to Jonas the Vingegaard. Jonas won. Pog came in second. Yates in third. We don't really need to break down all of the stages, but maybe we talk about what I would like to talk about first. Actually, was what I thought was a very, very exciting tour for the first 2 weeks. It was sort of after the day that we spoke last. It became a lot less exciting after the time trial, followed by Col de la Loze. And Jonas pretty much put it in the bag those 2 days, which I thought was great. Maybe one of the best time trials we've ever seen. But Pog called it his worst day on the bike. He said that. And
Did he really?
He looked dead. And do you guys remember your own personal worst days on the bike? Yesterday for me was a great day. I feel like, even though I had the issues that I had with fueling, that would not be what I would consider the worst day I've ever had on a bike. Cal, is there a moment that comes to mind for you?
Well, I think I've actually talked about my worst day on the bike
on the podcast
the first time when you interviewed me.
Yep.
It happened out in the Berkshires, really tough day, back hurting the whole time. But I think one thing that Pog said was that how he couldn't get any power in his legs. So, he bonked. So actually I do remember my worst bonk, which is different from like cracking, just in case listeners or anybody doesn't, it's like a very different feeling when you crack, you try to hold too many watts for too long, go anaerobic, all your muscles start to hurt. You can't go on anymore. But with bonking, it's like you want to keep riding, but you just don't have any power in your legs. So
it's like there's a disconnect between your brain and legs. And
I remember the first time it happened to me.
Hard to describe.
I was working at a bike shop.
It's a great word. They don't really use it in any other regard.
Yeah.
Really. Right? But like, because cracked makes sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can come back from cracked, but you can't come back from bonk.
Exactly.
Right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
You can't come back from bonk.
Yeah. So
Put that on a fucking t-shirt.
I was trying to lead a group ride at the bike shop that I worked at. We had the Saturday group rides. The A group was getting too fast, and we had like ride leaders. So I was the ride leader that day. I was trying to keep it under control. So we spent a lot of time like going to the front, like yelling at people.
Hell yeah.
Trying to stop them from sprinting at like town lines and things like that. And we got to the we got to the last climb, which is like a climb I've done 100 times, and just all of a sudden there was no power in my legs, and I just got like so hungry instantly. And like, even though I had like the fight in my head, like that I wanted to keep pushing, I just had no power all of a sudden, couldn't keep going. And it was like the slowest I've ever crawled up that climb.
It's terrible.
So yeah.
You ever bonk really hard? Worst day on the bike?
Yeah. I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast, but coincidentally, I was just talking about it with Nate recently, like maybe last week or the week before, last time we were riding together. It was pretty early on in my riding days. It was probably June or July of 2020. I was... at the time, I was doing a lot of fasted riding.
Yep.
But they were all probably anywhere from like 15 to 25 mile rides on average.
Yeah.
Just like for the routine of it, it was just
hour and a half.
That's just
2
what
hours.
I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 miles, something like that. Like relatively even paced. But that morning I decided to try for a 50 miler with Nate.
Totally fasted?
Totally fasted.
Not eating at all?
Yeah. Not like...
Right.
Like on a probably like already a 12-hour fast, or no breakfast. I'm just going to keep fasting and do this ride. But I did bring food knowing that I might need it.
Sure.
I should really have it. But I remember exactly where I fully bonked and had to stop. And Nate remembers the whole thing too, because I was just like, I was definitely gone.
Yeah.
Like my body temperature was like, just felt through the roof. So, I mean, maybe hydration had something to do with it as well. But just like through the roof, mentally panicking, completely out of energy, just like I've never felt like that before. And just had to stop, get under a tree, relax for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Really?
Ate some
Love
like
that.
bar that I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like the corner of maybe 10 Rod and Lafayette.
Wow.
Is that it? Do those two roads come together?
Yeah.
Say going west on 10 Rod and then left onto Lafayette, maybe?
Uh-huh. Recent bear sighting on Lafayette Road.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting
I
spot.
think I saw some bear scat in the woods today. That's for my other podcast.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, interesting. Like, so the worst time I feel like I ever bonked was maybe my first or second century. And it was with my dad and Jared. And I also remember exactly where I was when it happened. And I think it's just because I didn't fuel properly. But it was, in East Greenwich, like over by Carr's Pond. And I was heading back to my parents' house at the time, which was in Coventry. So probably 8 or so miles remaining. And it was the worst 8 miles of my life.
Wow.
Because I truly bonked. It was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in the tank. And it is generally up Carr's Pond Road is up. It's an uphill. That's like where I remember it happening. I had to like stop and I was like, fuck. So up the rest of that was like excruciating. And then the rest of it is downhill, and I still remember it being excruciating. I remember getting to my parents' garage and just like laying on the cement in the garage. And it was truly because I hadn't fueled properly. I brought like 2 gels and probably like filled my bottles at Narragansett Beach or something, So it wasn't like I was putting calories in it or anything. I think of fueling so much differently now than I did then, or even than I did 2 years ago. Because this isn't necessarily like a bonk story, but 2021, I rode like a bunch of, like I was counting centuries. And the first one I did of the year was with Brian in Newport. We started at Fort Adams and like went over to like Tiverton and came back. And I did that ride fasted. And at mile 83, we got coffee. And that's when I ate for the first time. I got a coffee and like ate something, and I felt like a fucking god when I ate that food.
Yeah.
Like I was like so in the zone, and I had like good tunnel vision, you know, like I was so focused. I felt like I was in like a fugue state or something.
Yeah.
But by the time I got back to the parking lot, that was gone. It was like, there was like a mix of like adrenaline and like the caffeine, and I was like, okay, this is like,
the caffeine and sugar hit right away.
You know, it hit me, and it was like I was at like mile 83, so I only had like an hour to go, you know, so it was like enough. But I remember driving home and being like, wow, I'm dead. And I think I definitely had like different legs then, now that I do a lot more like endurance type of stuff. That's what I like to do. You know, I'm not someone that like races a lot. I just like to be on my bike for a long amount of time. I think about the way that I eat differently. For me, fasting was a big part of like how I lost weight. And so I was like, oh, this will be great. It'll keep my calories down. But like, do not diet on the bike. Diet when you're not riding. You diet when you're not, do not diet on the bike. And like, eat early and eat often. And like the 50-mile thing is interesting because I think, to me, it's like a 2 hours like the cutoff for having to eat on the bike, or even for having to put calories in my bottles. If I'm doing an hour and a half, I don't really need to put food in my pocket, nor do I even need to put calories in my bottles. I could just survive on water, right?
Yeah.
But like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I'm at least putting something in my pocket, and probably, you know, some sort of mix, whatever. I'm using Tailwind right now, which worked well for me yesterday. Yeah.
Wednesday Morning Worlds was the really fast ride I did when I lived in Boston, and that starts at 6 a.m. It's 35 miles. I would routinely do that fasted. Even though it's really fast, you know, you're done by 7:30.
And then you're eating after.
No issues. Yeah. Even though it was like, you know, a lot
still
of
hard
like, threshold efforts.
Interesting.
There's no.
I've done our fast Fridays. Those are a little bit shorter, but fasted.
Yes.
And then gone in like, you know, hammered a burrito at TLC afterwards. Because that is really what I think is important, is like getting those calories in you after. Like, we ate a bunch of like Pan-Asian food. Some of us got Thai, some of us got Chinese food and stuff yesterday. What did you eat after the ride yesterday? We didn't even talk about that, even though we're still talking about the tour. Did you eat anything like great? We also had Reese's ice cream cake.
No. Well, I ate.
That's really why I wanted you to come here, so you could have ice cream cake.
Super fun, like ice cream cake or anything. But right when I got home, I had, you know what? I don't even remember.
More baby bunts?
I don't fucking remember.
You don't remember? All right, we're moving on.
First thing I had, I don't remember. I do remember a little while later, I had just like some ground turkey and brown rice that I had in the fridge.
Wow, very healthy.
I had left over because I was like, I just need something. And then my plan was, I had some pulled pork from my brother-in-law.
Great.
That my family had like earlier in the day yesterday.
Yep.
And I wasn't, you know, there for the get together. So
you were with us.
They gave me some. So I made, yes, I was with you guys on the ride.
Yeah.
So I made a pulled pork sandwich with barbecue sauce and coleslaw and a really nice, like big, soft, like almost like potato bun. Kind of like roll, torpedo roll kind of thing. And I wrapped it up in foil, and then I took it over to the Future Dad's gig in Rehoboth that I sat and watched, and I stopped at a Dollar General on the way over because we were also celebrating someone's birthday. Yeah. And they frantically texted me saying, we forgot plates and forks. Is there any way you can grab them? Because I was going there separately because I was late. And
you did all this after you rode?
This was your Sunday night?
Yeah, this is what I did last night.
Yeah.
My God.
So then I like, as soon as I saw that text, I pulled into a Dollar General, got plates and cups, and I grabbed a Fanta. So then I was sitting in the field. Wow,
Fanta is not what I would have. I was thinking Arnold Palmer or something.
You know, Fanta. I wanted something without caffeine. But I want sugar. Like a soda sounds really freaking good.
You deserved a sweet treat.
So I got a Fanta, and then I sat in a field watching my own band play a show.
That's great.
And they sounded awesome. Wow. And I ate a pulled pork sandwich and had a Fanta.
Wow.
And a couple of beers.
That rules.
That is a productive evening.
Yeah, that rules.
But I was very tired by the time I got home.
I bet.
Wow.
So yeah, worst day on the bike. Thanks. Try not to bonk. Eat more baby bunts and yeah.
Guys,
Some other.
The baby buns weren't good.
I don't think they didn't look good.
I want to be clear about this.
They didn't look good. There are plenty of other Hostess options.
They weren't very good.
Man, Nico had the peanut butter cookies. They haven't had.
Oh, they had the cookies?
They hadn't had them like the last 2 or 3 times I went. They only had the chocolate. Dang. Man, I ate a lot of great food yesterday. Salted caramel bar at that friggin'. I can't. All right, we got to move on. I could just talk about just the food we ate. So a couple other things. Towards the end, Sepp crashed and ended up out of 10th place. We were talking about him a lot previously on the show. That was kind of a tragic end for the Americans in this tour. Jorgensen ended up leaving. No more GC Kuss, and Paulus was in polka dots for almost 2 full weeks, right? And then lost him to Ciccone, who wore too many polka dots.
Early on, too.
Right away.
As soon as he got it, he went full polka dot.
Full. Head unit, helmet, glasses, skin suit, socks, bike. No, bike not till the end, right?
Yeah.
Bike wasn't till the end.
I didn't see the socks.
Socks.
I wasn't looking too closely at them, to be fair.
So I sort of talked about it a little bit earlier. Cal and I briefly, there was like a quick question yesterday, and I think it was Jeremy was like, was it more exciting than last year? And I immediately went, yes. And Cal went, no. So I'm curious, off the cuff, what's your reaction? Was this year's tour more exciting than last year?
I want to say yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's just because it's so much closer in my memory.
So that's what I think my issue was. Recency bias is like a real thing.
Or was it the case? Now, I don't know if this is true. I guess I'm asking. Did this year stay closer between the two of them longer than it did last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also like a very sort of a different progression.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different progression.
All of week 2, it was the time gap was very close.
Within like 40 seconds, right? Yeah.
Whereas last year it was like 11 or 12 that the jersey flipped on
the stage.
Yeah, the stage.
Yeah.
So for me, last
Different
year,
progression, I guess.
going into it, nobody knew if Pogačar could get beaten going into last year. So that was like, he just won 2 in a row. Jumbo kept having bad luck at the tour. And Pog took the yellow jersey early. We also had, Wow in the yellow jersey.
Right.
So there was some really exciting stages. We had a cobbled stage last year.
True.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
And then Pog's in yellow. He's dominating the sprints, getting time bonuses, extending his lead. And then the Col de Granon stage was just so amazing to see.
I agree.
To see Jumbo basically Roglic.
That two-sided attack. Yeah,
teaming up on him. Such a great stage. And then after that, Pog kept fighting back, and ended up not being able to really take much time at all out of Vingegaard, but still, it held your suspense right up until stage 20. Yeah, I would say this tour was still exciting. The GC battles were really close.
Oh, 100%.
And I thought even after the GC was decided, those stages we got
were great. Breakaway days
as well.
Yeah.
But I think just from like an overall narrative perspective, like when you look at the race as a whole story, last year's, captivated my attention a little bit.
Unchained season 2 is set for failure.
Well, I think Unchained will be better because we get to see Pog this year.
Yeah, we get to see Pog. So that's like news that's come out, right? Is that UAE is participating, but it is all footage that they are shooting and editing themselves. Oh. They are not even just giving them raw footage. They are even going to edit it. So the team is heavily involved in what Netflix will get to see, which immediately, to me,
skeptical,
makes me skeptical. But it is interesting. Yeah. But I do agree that last year's, when I actually stepped back and put my recency bias in check, it was more exciting throughout because of the GC battle. And I wanted to watch more minutes of more stages last year than I did this year, because once the GC was in the bag, I wasn't ready to watch 7 hours of cycling every single day, you know, whereas, you know, if I'm putting on like the GCN live show before, if I can, even if it's like while I'm stretching or like while I'm like eating breakfast or like doing laundry or whatever, like it's on. And after that time trial followed by Col de la Loze, it was like, okay, I'll watch like to see like where the breakaway happened and like what's this and that. And I'm keeping up with it, you know, but last year was totally different. But that the TT that Jonas did,
It was amazing.
it was maybe one of the best time trials ever ridden. And he did the perfect recon. He hit every corner perfectly. And I just like, did you see the clip of Pog and Jonas side by side coming out of the start gate and into the first corner? Jonas is legitimately a second and a half to 2 seconds faster when he hits that first corner.
It's incredible.
The first corner, 2 seconds. Wow. Yeah. So absolutely incredible. Yeah. And I guess
so. Pog said that the TT was his worst day.
No, Col de la Loze the next day.
Oh, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Right.
Yeah,
that
the
makes
next
sense.
day. Yeah.
How could you still get second on that TT and say it was the worst day?
Yeah, no, Pog had a great TT.
That's not what
right.
happened. It was
he did look tired, and he looked even more tired the next day. I think even, you know, you mentioned how we didn't really know if he could be beat leading into the 2022 tour. Jonas beats him, but he still was very much there the whole time. He's still very much like that Pog that's like smiling a lot and is super charismatic and all of that. That Pog disappeared for 2 stages essentially in this tour. The end of the TT, even just the look on his face as he came across the line, he looked spent. He looked sick, almost like Remco looked during the Giro, where he had that like, you know, Remco had COVID at the time, but that very similar like soul out of his body thing. And then when that clip of him talking to his DS, like, I'm dead, you know, ride for Adam, get Adam the podium. I mean, Pog still came in second.
Yeah.
He still came in second in this tour. He still had a great tour. He had 2 or 3 bad days. And I mean, I guess that can go into the next thing that we're going to talk about, because there's this whole Jonas's boring narrative that I see online a lot, and a lot of like Pog is this exciting, charismatic guy. And I don't think that they should be heroes or villains. And B, I think calling Jonas boring, hopefully it doesn't like affect him to hear it, but it's like, I don't know. I even said it on the podcast before. So like, I guess I apologize for saying that. No, I do apologize for saying that, but like,
what about the like hero and
no. So to me, I root for Jumbo and I want Jonas to win, but it's not like I guess I said I wanted Pog to be a villain in the past, but he doesn't really check that box for me. Not the way that like 50% of the riders on Little Trek do, you know? But this whole like, there's just a lot of shit online, and I guess I should just spend less fucking time on cycling Twitter, but like, of like, Pog has cyclismo and fucking Jonas doesn't, and like they ride a boring tour, and I don't think they ride a boring tour, and like I feel like I've watched quote unquote boring tours before, like the Team Sky days or like the Postal Service days, and so like, I mean, Cal, what do you think about that, like the comparison?
Yeah, well, I think the 2 points there, you know, people have compared Jumbo to Sky and how, and even Postal, and how they made the race boring because they dominated it.
Right. Like they would just shut down everything, right? They're riding on the front. They're shutting down every break. They're
first off, I think Jumbo is a lot more exciting than those teams because they have other riders like Wout and Laporte who can also win.
Yep.
They're not afraid to go in the break. Team Sky riders never went in the break. And people were starting to act like Pog was going to dominate the race for the next 10 years when he won his first 2 in a row. And people were speculating about him doping. They were worried that he was going to make the race boring, that no one could beat him.
Yep.
But now, as soon as he starts coming in second place, people love him. Cycling fans, and especially French fans seem to admire second place finishers more almost. And I guess maybe they're like,
That's just an issue with French cycling because they got to reassess everything going on over there. We could get into that whole, though. They must, I mean.
Maybe that's why I always root for an underdog with like a French Canadian background. I always want the underdog.
Yeah, that's what you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I agree. Jumbo is so much more exciting. Mm-hmm. And you ever get just like someone shove a camera in your face? You know, that sucks. And you just like did this full effort and you decide to like dedicate. I don't know. It's interesting because like they are here to, part of what they do is entertainment, but that's just a part of it, right? Like to me, racing is the more important part. And you look at teams like Jumbo who take things like very seriously from what I can tell, right? Like this whole beer drinking thing that's been going on that they've been, are you aware of this?
I saw something. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like
calling other teams out about drinking on the rest day.
Yeah. Well, so they're like, I don't want to get into the whole doping side of things, but there was doping allegations, right, for Jumbo. And then the Jumbo DS isn't really speaking to that specifically, but he's just like, well, we're not spending the rest days drinking beer. We're not spending rest days fucking, he didn't say this, but fucking doing flips into pools like Pog was, you know, like, so there is something to be said about a team like Jumbo that takes things very seriously. And does that mean that like Jonas needs to be this like guy that's like doing this to the camera in the middle of a stage, like fucking Pog did last year when he was like, we're eating or whatever the fuck? I don't know. They don't need to be, and in real life, I don't even think they hate each other. I think this is more like how the media portrays it and how like fans portray it. But like, I don't know, can't we all just get along, you know? And can't like they be different people? Because all of a sudden,
I think it's
like
great
you
that
said,
they're different people.
Like you said, the narrative has flipped now. Because can Pog ever lose? And now it's like, can Jonas ever lose? When Jan Ulrich was racing the Tour, it was like, will Jan Ulrich ever lose? It always happens. Yeah. And like, we're in a golden age of cycling, truly a golden age of cycling. Let's talk. Can we talk about the Vuelta real quick? Jonas is going to the Vuelta with Primos. Yeah. Remco's going to the Vuelta.
It's gonna be wild.
G's going to the Vuelta.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Sepp's going to the Vuelta.
Sepp is going to the Vuelta.
So I had a debate with some of my other friends today, actually, that they thought Jonas going to the Vuelta would make it more boring, because they thought he was just going to dominate it.
Yeah.
But first off, the winning both the Tour and the Vuelta in the same year is extremely hard.
Oh, absolutely.
Froome tried it like 5 or 6 times.
Did he really?
Before he finally pulled it off.
Wow, I didn't know that.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
Not everyone can peak 11 months of the year like Pog. You know, like Jonas didn't do anything after the Tour last year.
And we're finally going to get to see Remco race Jonas, which we've
never seen.
Yeah,
right.
And so I really want to know how they're going to match up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. That's in just about a month, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get back together and talk about some of that stuff, the Vuelta.
Well, yeah, we also got Worlds in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Worlds is also in 2 weeks. So I guess let's so Worlds is in 2 weeks. It's this big event. It's in Glasgow. Okay, Scotland, and is it the first time they're doing it this way, Cal? Can you explain to us how they're doing it all these things together?
Yeah, so all the various disciplines of cycling are having their world championship in the same 2 weeks
at the same time
this year, which from now on, every 4 years, they're going to do this. Normally it's more spread out where like mountain biking will have its world championship in, I don't know what it is, July or something like that. And then roads is in September. But now, we're going to have track, mountain, and road. And I think maybe BMX too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, BMX,
all in the same 2 weeks.
And indoor.
Yeah.
As well.
And the course for roads this year is wild.
Yeah.
They ride from the other Belfast, right?
I think so. Yeah.
To Glasgow, and then they do the same circuit a bunch of times, and the circuit is like more than 30 turns. It's like a turn.
Is it really?
It's like a turn every 50 meters.
Wow, it's like riding in Rehoboth.
Every 500 meters. It's insane.
Wow.
It's like a giant 4 or 5 hour long crit. So
Not all teams have confirmed start lists, but like the Belgian team does, which is a wild team with Wout and Remco and Jasper Philipsen. Tish Benu is also on there. Nathan Van Hooijdonk. So who else? Oh, France has their team. Looks like Alaphilippe. Christophe Laporte is also on that team, which could be interesting. A lot of people are saying this is a good course for Van der Poel, racing for the Netherlands, right? With Dylan Van Baarle and Pascal Ankorn and everyone's favorite young wonderkind, Olive Koy.
You know what would be amazing?
What? Christophe Laporte.
Laporte gets
leads
into a break
out
with Wout and leads him out and repays him for that race
win
back in the sprint.
Yeah. The U.S. team is interesting. Magnus Sheffield, Sean Quinn, Nielsen Paulus, Lawson Craddock, Matteo Jorgensen, and Quinn Simmons.
Yeah, team's a little beat up. Hopefully.
Sepp is not on this list.
No.
He's not doing it. He's got to focus on the Vuelta.
Yeah.
3 Grand Tours for Sepp this year.
If it was a climbing world championship,
right.
he'd be there, but otherwise, what's the point?
That team does. I think they can fill out that team a little bit more. Any other super exciting teams? I mean, it'd be cool to see like Simon Clark Duell from Australia. I don't really care for, Van der Poel.
Canadian team.
Oh yeah,
Derek G.
I don't see anyone on the preliminary start list for that. Not on Pro Cycling Stats, at least. Not at the moment. George Bennett for New Zealand. Yeah, so it's going to be super exciting. I can't wait. Time Trial 2. Was Wout doing both? I don't think he is. I feel like he said he wasn't, because in the past he has, and maybe he hasn't been able to focus. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know why I'm speaking out of turn.
You said Magnus Sheffield was on the start list?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's doing the TT as well?
I think so, yeah. Him and Sheffield and who else is doing? No, because wait, isn't Brandon McNulty supposed to be on that team?
Oh yeah,
maybe he's there.
He's not on this list, but I thought Magnus Sheffield and Brandon McNulty they were doing the TT, right? Because you pick 2 guys to do the TT from the team.
Yes,
it's only 2 of the entire team. I'm pretty sure, but he's not on this list here in Pro Cycling Stats. It is a light list. It's only 6 guys.
Is it a 2-man time trial?
Brandon is just doing the time trial.
Oh, he's only doing the time trial. So it's a one person.
It's a one person.
Yeah. Okay. But you get to pick 2 from your country.
Are the times cumulative then?
No, it's just
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why do they do that? Why don't they just have everyone do both in the road discipline?
Some people just aren't time trial specialists, and they probably have fewer slots made available to them.
Ben Healy's racing it. Whew.
The amount of riders you can send to a race in Worlds is dependent upon like how your country does with UCI points.
Okay, with UCI points.
So
that's why Belgium has 9 riders.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I didn't realize that.
And Morocco has 0 listed. So sorry, Morocco. Exciting, and that's in a couple weeks. And a couple weeks after that is the Vuelta. And
what about like Eritrea?
I only saw 4 names on there, and I did not see Binny.
No.
Nope.
Interesting.
4 names that
maybe is he doing Vuelta?
I don't know. He kind of got. I mean, it's good to get the hours under his belt for the tour, but he kind of got bullied a lot this tour.
Yeah,
not great positioning.
He had a fall too.
I mean, there was a huge bully in Jasper and Alpecin. Fuck.
Yeah.
Did he get hurt? Did he go down, Benny? I don't remember.
No, I don't know. I thought maybe he had like a 1 spill, but was like, it wasn't a big deal. Could be wrong.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna play. I mean, I guess I kind of called this a game. It's like the Newlywed Game. You guys ever play the Newlywed Game?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Same.
Yeah, I never played it. I've never been on CBS in the 60s or whatever when they used to play it. But I have put together a list of like 10 superlatives from the tour of this. Yeah.
Never mind.
No, you have to.
Newlywed Game was Chuck Barris, right? Who invented that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He invented... no, he didn't invent
the Gong
Jeopardy.
Show also.
Yeah, the Gong Show.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And claimed to be an assassin for the CIA.
That's right. Yeah. Claimed. Yeah. I have a list of superlatives here, and I send it out to all of us, and the idea was for all of us to fill this out and then sort of see if we agree or disagree on what these superlatives are. Okay. So first one, top of the list, best rider. BSP, who do you have written down for best rider of the tour? This one might be the most easy one or the one that's up for the most debate.
I wrote Sepp Kuss.
Wow. What did you write?
Hurt Pogacar.
What? I wrote Jonas. So already we are not on the same page. Perfect. We don't have to say why, but I think that is a very interesting answer. I thought that was just going to be boring, but now I really like where this is going. Next one, best progression. So take this as you will, but like best progression of a rider. Cal, what'd you put for this one?
I didn't go with the rider. I went Cofidis, Team Cofidis.
Wow. Okay. You're really throwing a wrench in the
really
system
interpreted
here.
the question.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I guess that's how we're doing things. Brian?
I wrote
Harry.
Felix Gall.
Hell yeah. So did I.
Wow.
Felix
Nice.
Gall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great tour for him. And I feel like that was a good progression. I don't disagree with the Cofidis thing, but I just, interesting.
I wrote down a few bullet points for that one for Felix Gall real quick.
Yeah.
It's his first Tour de France.
Hell yeah.
He's young. He's going for the white jersey as well. He was 8th in GC, 2nd in polka dots, 3rd in white jersey. He won a stage.
Who was
And
second?
he's
in white?
Austrian.
Who? I didn't know he was Austrian.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Who is second in the white jersey this year? Pog was first. Felix Gall was Carlos Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think it was Rodriguez.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, next up, best team. Best team. Who do we have down? I put Jumbo. Cal?
I put Jumbo.
Jumbo?
I put Jumbo.
Hell yeah. Yellow helmets are all around. The best team. Next one, best teammate. Best teammate. Brian, what'd you put for this?
Wout van Aert.
Unbelievable. Cal, what did you put?
Mate Mohoric.
Wow, Mohoric is good. I put Sepp Kuss. Wow, okay, so not on the same page at all. Oh, man, that
Your reaction, I thought you had Wout.
No, Wout shouldn't have copulated with his wife 9 months ago. I love you, Wout, but that is a wild decision to me. You are a professional athlete. Jumbo tells you what to eat every single day of your life. And I know things happen. I don't, obviously, he can't get into it.
All right,
but
things happen.
Things happen. Okay. Biggest surprise. Cal, what do you have for biggest surprise of the tour?
Victor Lafay, stage 2.
Victor Lafay, stage 2. That's solid. Brian, what do you have for biggest surprise of this year's tour?
I don't really have a good answer for this one. I wrote, which now I'm thinking about it in the moment, it's not a surprise.
Are you embarrassed to say
It's not
it?
a surprise. I'm a little bit, but it's more just like a pissing me off factor. Phillipsen winning so many of the sprints.
Oh, almost 5 stages. He had 4 stages. Almost tied the tour record. 4 stages. I put Cofidis with not 1 but 2 stage wins was the biggest surprise for me. So similar to what Cal said.
No,
but
should put that.
Yeah,
Makes sense. For sure.
biggest disappointment of the tour this year. What'd you put for this one, Brian?
I'm gonna say Paulus losing the polka dots.
That is a big disappointment. That's up there on my list for sure. Cal, what did you have?
Peter Sagan.
Me too. Me too. What the hell? Was he even there?
Pretty great interviews at the end of 21.
I saw more videos of him smoking a cigar after yesterday's stage, and I get it. It's a lot, right? He's done the tour how many times? He is a legend. He wore the green jersey 6 times or something like that. And he's done it and he's over it. But he was like, I'm tired.
Yeah, dude, getting a break. You at least try to go in the last
Do
in
something,
Paris,
dude.
like
Help your
last
team
race.
out, dude.
You gotta or at least honor the race in your own career a little bit.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, very, very disappointed. Next one, worst team of the tour. Who'd you put for this one, Cal?
I went with Total Energy for the same reason.
Same reason. That's good reason.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brian?
I put Archaea.
I put Archaea as well.
Huh.
Yeah. What did they do? None of their riders were smoking cigars
Honestly,
after the stage.
I wouldn't even
What did they
thinking
do?
about Total Energy. That didn't even cross my mind. I forgot they were there.
Same. Which is, I think this is like this is maybe my favorite superlative, is worst team. Because obviously everyone talks about Jumbo and UAE, and then like Bora got a lot of talk because of Jai Hindley, and Israel Premier Tech did because they were in breaks, and Cofidis with their 2 wins, and Alpecin with Jasper. But there were some teams that like Intermarché got talked about because of Binny and Louis Menkes and all that stuff. But like, what are some other teams that like we didn't really... Astana was high, and then Cav went out, and then so he was sort of...
Yeah.
They didn't talk about them much, even though Case Bowl, fucking the names. He came pretty close in yesterday's sprint, I think. But Arkea and Total Energy, who else didn't do shit?
DSM.
I mean,
DSM.
Yeah, DSM was terrible.
Movistar.
Once Jorgensen went home.
FDJ had a lot of talk, even though they didn't do too much. I think Gaudu was a fraud, and the Pinot stuff was great at the end, But yeah.
Why do you think he's a fraud?
I don't know. I would not buy in to him. French cycling needs help. They need help. Now that Pinot is gone, French cycling needs help. The biggest race in the world is the Tour de France. And Alaphilippe is like on the outs with his team. He is aging. Pinot is gone. Gaudu, Romain Bardet, not exciting. They're not going to really compete with even the Remcos and the Gs of the world, right? G being a little bit older, Remco's still not proving himself in these 3-week tours. What does French cycling have for a future? What do they have? Christophe Laporte isn't the answer to that. What do they have?
Yeah, you're right.
Victor Lafay?
Maybe.
I wonder how much.
No,
I don't disagree with you.
It's and I don't really care. Like you talk about being French Canadian. I'm not French. I don't fucking care if a French do well. But it's interesting to me that a race that is the biggest race in the world, that takes place in France, that has all these French fans, who do they root for? They're rooting against Jumbo now, and they're rooting for Pog. They're rooting for Slovenian, which is
true.
fine. But like, where is French cycling? Where is it?
We'll never know.
We'll never know. Thank you. Who do we have to blame here? Patrick Lefebvre?
He's Belgian.
Yeah, true. Can't blame the Dutch. Who can we blame? Can't blame Belgians. Can't blame the Dutch. Let's just blame the French. We don't need to blame anyone. What was the best stage of the tour this year to you, Brian? What did you think?
Stage 13, the Grand Colombier finish.
Oh, that's a good one. Cal, what'd you put?
I went stage 1.
Stage 1?
Yeah.
Wow, good answer. I put the TT. I don't know what number that was.
Solid.
Yeah. Worst stage?
Stage 11.
Stage 11.
Yeah. This is Philipson's like 4th sprint win.
Okay.
Got boxed in.
What'd you put?
Every Philipson win stage.
I put stage 4, which I think maybe he also won, but that was just like there was no break and everyone just rode like the full thing was neutralized. But yeah, so we agreed on some things. We didn't agree on some others. I think we all agree that it was a good tour though, right?
Definitely.
Had a lot of fun talking about it with you guys, had a lot of fun watching it. And, yeah, I mean, obviously looking forward to next year. We were already watching a preview of the time trial, the stage 21 time trial that will take place next year. Next year does not end on the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
It ends with the time trial from Monaco to Nice.
To Nice, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the last time they did that was when Greg LeMond won the tour.
against a Frenchman.
Yes.
Who was the last big French winner?
I think Lauren Fignon.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
In 1987?
Yeah. To win the GC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
I'm just saying, they must be like losing a lot of sleep over in France.
Must be.
But they do have the new Ratatouille ride at Epcot. I went on that recently.
Oh, we didn't even talk about it.
You want to talk about it
was
now? It was great.
Yeah.
We did talk about it. We talked about it a lot. We talked about the technology, that it was like Wi-Fi and
God.
Bluetooth.
We did.
We talked about
You're
it.
right. We did talk about it. You're right.
That is for my other podcast. That Brian and I are starting a theme park podcast where we just watch videos of theme park ride-alongs and break them down, right?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Thought you meant the other Brian.
No, does he? I don't,
Yeah, sure.
I've never talked about theme parks with Brian.
Maybe. Let's do it.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any closing thoughts? Anything else they'd like to say about the tour this year? No.
I think we covered it.
Hell yeah.
I think I'd like to just say some more like honorable mention type stuff.
Let's
go. Just like, this isn't a surprise, but like Sepp Kuss just being amazing.
The best.
And also Adam Yates being fantastic. And then also
True.
all of the times that Adam Yates and Simon Yates were in breaks together or doing work together and just making things
very nicely
cool.
bookended.
And then also like, I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head. Puy de Dôme went with,
who was
Matteo
that?
Jorgensen having a really long solo effort.
Yep, and then Michael Woods.
Yeah, then Michael Woods passing him in, I don't know, maybe the last like couple K or 1.5K or something like that.
Yep.
And then also Bilbao hitting the guy in the head.
That was great.
That
but
was
also
amazing.
winning a stage for Gino. I like how you mentioned that one. Bahrain had a great tour.
And then, and then Mohoric winning that stage and... him crying right afterwards.
Amazing.
And also the emotional, speech he gave after was just
amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really resonated with a lot of riders. I heard Pidcock talking about that the next day, like how much that resonated with him. And to think that someone like Mohoric suffers from like imposter syndrome, essentially, which is what we're talking about, right? Like he feels a lot of the time that he does not deserve to be there. This man won Milan San Remo on one of the most exciting races I've ever watched live in my life. And I hope to bring that to my grave. It was the when he used the dropper, and I know I never shut up about it, but I love it so much. And he crushed that race, and that guy is like, oh man, I don't know if I should be doing this, And that's real. That even someone as successful and as talented as him is like, doesn't feel comfortable in a way in his career, or doesn't feel comfortable and confident, and that mental health aspect of it, I think is a very important part. You talk about teams like Jumbo taking things so seriously, but in the same breath, what they did for Tom Dumoulin to let him take the year off, maybe even 18 months off because he was struggling with his mental health. And then he came back, and even after he came back, he still had 2 years on his contract, I believe, and he, after a year, was like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. He's like, we can just rip up my contract. You don't have to pay me. And I believe they continued to pay him anyway. So that, not that money is what bought the happiness, but the financial stability of being able to be confident in your mental health and talk to these people about it, or for Mohoric to say what he said and Pidcock to be, Pidcock's another guy. Pidcock won Alpe d'Huez. And he had a rough tour. A lot of people were hyping him, myself included. GC Pidcock. I want Pidcock to win a Grand Tour. I would love to. I love everything about him. And he didn't have a great 3 weeks. And yeah, he's still young and he could still get that under his belt. But does he just become a classics rider? That's something that Cal and I spoke about a little bit yesterday while we were riding. Or does he go for stage wins? Or is that not up to me or us to put that pressure on him? Let Ineos figure that out. And they've got a lot of interesting things to figure out. I think Ineos could be a really interesting team in the future, but they also have a lot of, they've got essentially an aging superstar and a couple guys that are being transferred. And interesting team. And I don't know. Mental health is important, I guess.
It is, yeah.
No matter what, cycling or not.
Yeah, one beautiful thing about bike racing the tour is that it does bring out those stories a lot.
Yeah.
Hugo Huel, when he won his tour stage, talked about how he lost his brother.
Yep.
And there's always a lot of emotions, especially the third week of a tour, I think, because everybody's so tired. And, it's just like a long ride.
Yeah.
It's a real journey.
Yeah. There were times yesterday on our ride where I was like, I wouldn't say getting emotional like Mohoric was, but you're digging deep into a bucket of all of your feelings and stuff and what you have in your body. And it's easy for, things to come to the surface, I think, a little bit, so yeah. Well, Viva La Tour. Thank you guys for doing this with me, and see you in a couple weeks for Worlds. Remember last year we watched Worlds live?
Yeah.
We do that again?
Oh, I think
we might be able to a little better this year
like,
because the time zones.
Yeah, last year was in Australia. What were you saying?
Oh, shit. I was going to say that I think that the first podcast I edited was of you guys watching Worlds live.
Oh. Well, that was in October last year. This year it's in August.
Yeah.
So we'll be back for that soon. And thanks again. Thank you all for watching and listening, and catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.